One of the reasons why Game of Thrones is so much successful is, except the last couple of seasons but anyway, the way of characters playing the Game of Thrones. Each of the characters is unique and they all survive their Game of Thrones using some common or different strategies from the 48 Laws of Power book by Robert Greene. There are some people who used some strategies to achieve to the top of the mountain through history, and this book is a summary of those strategies. First, I will explain the first law, and then we are gonna look at some examples from Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. Enjoy watching. Here's the first law of power. Never outshine the master. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please or impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear or insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are and you will attain the highest stage of power. Greene starts with this law especially because he thinks this is the worst mistake of all for someone who wants more power. And you will realize how right he is. Most of the time, people get jealous of someone who has spotlight. And this makes harder to hide your moves, motivations, emotions and stuff like that. And not just that, there are always someone who is your superior and that people will try to get rid of you if they see you are getting spotlight and getting famous. Because in the first place, you will be a threat to their reputation if not to themselves. So, for someone who wants more power, getting unnecessary attention is the worst mistake. Actually, there are also a couple of reasons why you shouldn't outshine your master or any superior. First, the spotlight always should be on your boss. With that, he will never get jealous of you and in the time when he's under spotlight, you are gonna have so much knowledge about him, like where he wants to go, what is his plans, goals and objectives. Once you know those, you can help him to achieve his goals and make him reward you back. That's a good way to have more power without outshining your master or having a war. And moreover, you can use informations that you got by observing to get rid of them when that time comes. Alright, let's have a look at first example from Game of Thrones. Queen Margaery always outshined Cersei Lannister. She was one of the most beautiful ladies in Westeros, was younger than Cersei, was popular among the citizens, was helping those orphans, poor and children, was donating to charities. She was literally opposite of Cersei Lannister, and everyone was admiring Margaery as much as they hate Cersei. In short, Margaery literally outshined Cersei Lannister as a new queen candidate. She took every attention she can for herself and for her house. And with that, Cersei had enough time to observe her, find her weakness and make a plan to destroy her which Margaery couldn't stop. Here's a question. What was Margaery's mistake which led her to her death? Before I explain, comment below what could she have done differently. Her first mistake was, she started to outshine her master with on purpose or not. What I'm talking about is, she started to outshine Cersei even when she was just promised to marry Joffrey. I mean, when she wasn't queen yet. For that open war, she should have been at least queen or any other equal position. Her second mistake was, she outshined Cersei even with being herself. Under that circumstance, she should have made Cersei feel more comfortable till she became an actual queen. And then she could go for an open war. In the other hand, let's have a look at Sansa. I'm not sure she had the right mindset at this years of her age, but she did everything right even if she knew the game or not. She didn't take any attention, and if she had been queen, it's better to say her equal, she might have had a better chance against Cersei than Margaery. There's another example, and definitely someone who is expert on this law. Let's have a look at how to apply this. Recently, Daemon Targaryen always uses this. He never outshined his brother, the king, the Viserys Targaryen. Even when he won against Scrap Feeder, he's got named the King of Stepstones. But he still gave his crown, his glory, to Viserys just to not get more unnecessary spotlight. Because he knew that would make him threat for the Viserys, even if it's not personally, it would still make him a threat to his reputation. And probably it would end bad for him. Imagine what Margaery would do. I think she would roam around with a crown and telling how good she was at there or just trying to show everyone in a possible way. But unlike her, Daemon knows the Game of Thrones. Besides that, he made Viserys to feel more confident, more stronger with adding him another title as a king. That's really important one and the proof of Daemon Targaryen knows how to play the Game of Thrones. Sometimes you can have spotlight with just being yourself. like being more charming, more brave, more charismatic. These were the reasons why most of the viewers or even characters in the series, like Rhaenyra liked Daemon Targaryen even though he's a bad person, or the reason why we all liked Ned Stark, Jon Snow or the other characters. So in the game of power, if you are outshining your superior with just being yourself, with just being better, then it's a clever move to make your superior feel more brilliant and confident than you. Because when they realize that their reputation is threatened by your presence, they will try to get rid of you. For example, Jon Snow in Castle Black outshined everyone with just being himself. Everyone was jealous of him. He was one of the best swordmen there, most handsome, brave and etc. Half of the Night's Watch was admiring him, but the other half was just became hater. And that led him to his death by his haters at the first chance. Now you should understand that outshining the master is the worst mistake for someone who wants power. And we have the option to make our superiors feel better than us. But does it always have to be that way? No, Jon Snow's case is quite different. It teaches us more than just to not outshine the master. If we can read it carefully, it also teaches when to outshine the master. Jon Snow was able to stay alive with a lot of haters around him. That's because of his master, Lord Commander Mormont, was ready to surpass. He chose Jon Snow to educate and teach how to command Night's Watch. And Jon Snow did really well with outshining his masters when he was under one of his masters' protect. So when election time came, he had already proved himself. That tells us, under right circumstances, outshining the master is not that wrong and can work really well. I'm 100% sure it doesn't matter what series you are watching or what history book you are reading. Most of the people, those who live in the palaces, in the game of power, knows this rule and never ever outshines their masters and never makes their superiors feel weak even if he is. Because this rule is the killer. And I think I don't need to tell you this, but George Martin writes these characters especially according to this law. Most of the violators of this law are dead, and those who applies this law perfectly won often. I'm not saying that he read this book, I can't obviously, but I can say that this rule is the common point of the characters who have power, like Tywin Lannister, Petyr Bealish, Daemon Targaryen, you know, all of those people who are strongest ones after the king in the real. They are always using it, and that's the key of their climbing to the top of the mountain. If you want to learn more about the rest of the laws of power, I would highly recommend you to buy the book with the link in description. In conclusion, having spotlight puts you in danger with getting unnecessary attention, which will make harder to hide your moves, and by making your superiors jealous of you. Margaery did this. She made Cersei jealous and got killed by her. Jon Snow outshined everyone with being himself and got killed in the first chance. On the other hand, Daemon refused to get more spotlight and made his superior feel more confident. As a result, he even reverted back for his behavior. Sansa came from a broken family and became the Queen of the North. Petyr Bealish came from a little family and died as one of the strongest men in the realm. I think that's enough. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one.